3 days later, the apocalyptic rain hit. Everyone got trapped at home, couldn't move an inch. Supplies became everyone's biggest problem. I used my magnifying system to enlarge what little food we had. We rationed everything. In the end, we both survived. But after the rain apocalypse ended, my brother turned on me furious. If you hadn't stolen my magnifying system, I could have used it to save Sister Shen's family. Bro, you're great and all, but you're just too selfish. When I opened my eyes again, my brother had already grabbed the magnifying system first. I knew right then, he'd been reborn too. Since you love your precious Sister Shen so much and you hate me, the brother who saved your life, then this time, I'm done caring whether you live or die. This shrinking system can shrink food, but it can also shrink me. Once I figured that out, I looked at my overjoyed brother and said, then I'll take the shrinking system. System binding successful. My brother got even more excited. He couldn't wait to try out his new system. He raised his hand and magnified a cup nearby 100 times. Next second, the small cup turned into a massive one. My brother said happily, this is the real magnifying system. It's really mine now. I just stared at him coldly. This was the brother I'd risked my life to protect in my past life. In my previous life, the rain apocalypse hit out of nowhere. Everyone got trapped in their own homes. Supplies were critically short. We had a few boxes of instant noodles and bread. Back then, I used my magnifying system to enlarge them. We barely survived 5 years of endless rain. My brother's childhood friend, Shen Ruchu, lived right across from us. He begged me to help her family by magnifying their food, but I refused. I didn't trust people's hearts. Without my help, Shen Ruchu's family couldn't last 5 years. They starved to death early on. I survived that merciless apocalypse, but never expected I'd die at the hands of the brother I'd protected for so long. Bro, now the magnifying system is mine. Bet you're jealous, huh? I can magnify anything I want, but your shrinking system seems pretty useless. My brother seemed to be testing whether I'd been reborn too. There was a hint of wariness in his eyes. I let out a breath. I acted casual and smiled. What's the difference? It's just a system. If you like it, take it. I'm cool with either. Seeing I had zero interest in the magnifying system, my brother finally relaxed and laughed. I knew from his smile that this time he'd definitely try to save his childhood friend's family. And once people knew about this system, there's no way he'd be safe in his bedroom. Everyone would come after it. My brother excitedly ran out the door and knocked on Shen Ruchu's door. Shen Ruchu opened it. She looked at my brother, confused. Sulong, what are you doing here? My brother ignored the disgust on her face and leaned in, smiling. Sister Shen, let's talk inside. Once their door closed, I immediately pulled out my phone to check the date. Today's the 14th. 3 days left before the rain hits. There's still time. I immediately drove to a nearby supermarket and cleared out everything. Food, drinks, anything useful. I even bought a batch of baby chicks. Then I hit up a furniture store and picked out a whole furniture set. I was building myself a brand new little home. My place is on a high floor. In my past life, the rain lasted 5 years and never reached my apartment. So I'm not leaving. I'm just gonna live differently this time. I shopped until my bank account hit zero. Meanwhile, my brother knew the rain was coming but wasn't panicking or prepping at all. He knew his magnifying system could enlarge food, so he wasn't worried. In fact, he seemed kinda excited. I knew exactly what he was excited about. He wanted to swoop in when food got scarce and save Shen Ruchu's family, hoping she'd fall for him. I thought he just had a crush on her. Turns out he's a full-on simp with 0 brain cells. That night, when my brother came home, his eyes were full of hearts. Like he'd already drowned himself in some fantasy love story with Shen Ruchu. Bro, what if I saved Shen Ruchu's whole family, hypothetically speaking? You think Sister Shen would fall for me? My brother's face was plastered with a creepy lovesick grin. I said coldly, no. He reacted like I'd slapped him. No way! Sister Shen will totally like me. Bro, be honest, do you like Sister Shen too? Forget it, Sister Shen is mine. I ignored him and just scrolled through my phone, shopping online for more stuff. In my past life, my brother already screwed me over once. I'm not letting that happen again. This time you're on your own, buddy. While I was still shopping, my brother grinned at me. Bro, you got any money left? Lend me a few thousand? I want to buy some food. I kept a straight face. Nope, I just bought a new fridge. Spent everything. My brother's reaction was instant and sharp. Why'd you buy a fridge? I frowned. I wanted a new one. Is that a problem? Why are you freaking out? My brother quickly pulled himself together and laughed. No. Just curious, that's all. Bro, didn't you have some food in your room? I took it and gave it to the old folks in the building. They're struggling too, you know? You're not mad, right? My brother smiled like he was some kind of saint, waiting for me to praise him. I couldn't believe it. He'd been reborn, snatched the system he wanted, and now he'd given away my last bit of food. He was clearly trying to kill me. If I hadn't been reborn, if I didn't have a system, I'd be dead once this rain hit. Looking at his smug face only made me hate him more. I thought I'd been good to him. We lost our parents when we were kids. As his older brother, I took on the parental role. I dropped out early so he could keep going to school. Even when his grades sucked, I never blamed him. He always had a better life than other kids his age. All thanks to me busting my ass. Later, he didn't get into college. By then, I'd already worked my way up and bought an apartment in the city, so I brought him to live with me. But it turned out our neighbor was Shen Ruchu, his childhood friend. Her family got relocation money and moved out of the village. When my brother saw her, this pretty girl, he fell hard, started obsessing over her. During the rain apocalypse, I refused to help her family, but he snuck food to them while I was asleep, gave away a third of our supplies. I had no choice. I started locking my bedroom door to stop him from stealing more. Turns out, in my brother's eyes, I wasn't even worth as much as some girl who owed him nothing. I was completely done with him. I said coldly, "It's fine. My brother smiled. Bro, you're the best. I knew you wouldn't get mad over something so small. I didn't want to deal with him anymore. I'm tired. Going to bed. You should rest too. I turned and locked myself in my room. I started planning my shelter. I'd already prepped everything I needed. Now I just had to wait for the rain apocalypse to start. Meanwhile, my brother thought he had it all figured out with his magnifying system. He spent his pocket money on a couple $100 worth of food and locked it in his room, like he was scared I'd steal it or something. I decided to abandon this apartment I'd bought. If I stayed here, no matter how small I got, they might find me. So I had a better spot in mind. A hidden room in my bedroom. I had it built when I renovated the place. I never told my brother about it. It's not big, about the size of a bathroom, but for a shrunken version of me, it's the perfect safe house. The entrance is controlled through my phone, so I'm not worried about my brother finding it. Even if he does, he can't get in. On top of that, I went to the outskirts of the city and used my shrinking system to shrink a patch of soil. That way, I can grow vegetables and be totally self-sufficient. I also shrank a few trees and brought them back. Soon, all the food and furniture I ordered arrived. Only one day left before the rain hit. I had everything delivered to our old rural house. The village was abandoned by then. Nobody lived there. The house was packed with furniture, appliances, food, and all sorts of supplies. When no one was around, I used my shrinking system to shrink everything down and packed it all into boxes I'd prepared. In the end, I hesitated, but decided to shrink the entire house too and bring it with me. In the dead of night, I drove back to the city and stuffed everything into my hidden room. My brother, on the other hand, was thrilled these past few days. He thought he had everything under control. He didn't even notice what I was doing. I set up a filtration system in the hidden room. Even if I lived there for years, I wouldn't run out of oxygen. I also poured 5 bottles of unshrunk water into a big container to use as my water source. After a whole night of setting up, the hidden room turned into a tiny little farm. The super tiny chicks were chirping softly, pecking at bugs in the grass. Inside the little house, everything was fully furnished. I finally felt at ease, quietly waiting for the rain apocalypse to begin. With half a day left, my brother ran over to Shenruchu's place again. It seemed like her family really didn't like him. I'd overheard more than once. The neighborhood aunties gossiping. That boy from across the hall is shameless. Full-grown man running over there every day. I bet he's got his eyes on your daughter. Looks like you're getting a son-in-law. Shenruchu's mom shot back immediately. Ugh, no way. You don't know. He didn't even get into college. Now he's in his 20s with no real job. Just lazes around letting his brother take care of him. He thinks he can marry my daughter with that broke attitude? Not happening. My daughter's beautiful and has a stable job. He's way out of her league. But my brother didn't care what they thought. He kept barging into Shenruchu's room anyway. With just an hour left before the rain, I called my brother. Bro, what's up? I answered flatly. Something came up at work. I'm pulling an all-nighter. Not coming home tonight. My brother hesitated, but in the end, he didn't warn me about anything. He just brushed me off. All right then, I'll eat by myself tonight, hanging up. My brother and I both awakened 2 systems at the same time. One could